All right, guys. Happy Monday. Sorry, it looks like I'm not looking at you, but I am. I just have two screens, so It'll be like I'll kind of have a dodgy neck if I was to look at you the whole time. So please, if you're getting put off with me looking at you like this, don't be afraid to tell me because
I'm put off.
Because it would. Oh, okay. Corin's obviously very conscious about it. So.
There we go. It looks so good.
So look, there's only three of us on the call. When I have a class like this, I always say at the start that it's a personal call. You know, our vision is to have 80, 100 plus people on this call. That's our vision. At the moment, there's only a few of us, which is cool. So I want this call to be about you guys. You know, it's personal. I'm not going to ramble on when I'm not really achieving anything that's going to help you. So if you just have a little think for a minute, what do you want to get from this call? What you're spending your hard-earned time, you know, what do you want to get from this call? Can you just have a little think for a minute and write in the chat? So we've got nice jawline. Eh? Oh, sorry. Self-belief is a big one. 5, unity in the shared vision. So we've got Gabs on there still thinking. Sophie, welcome. I just basically said to the crew, what do you want to get from this call? It's only going to be 30 minutes. I want to make it special. I want you to go away being impacting in the best way possible. So just if you can think of something that you'd like to get from the call, it can be as simple as random as you want. Sarah, welcome. Anything you want to get from this call, please write into the chat. I'd love to be able to answer your questions. What was the question? Okay. The question was, sorry, so what would you like to get from this call to make it worth your time? More fire in my belly to carry me through the week. Yes. Self-belief, more fire, unity. Okay, Sarah, waiting for you just to write in the chat, if you don't mind, what you want to get from this call. Obviously, you're giving out your time, your precious time. I know it's a Monday in the UK, so you might have stuff that's waiting to be done. I'd love to be able to just find out from you what you really want to get from this call. Like, if you don't know, that's fine. Just write it in the chat, and then we'll work from there. Be it group vision, more self-belief for sure, and I'm not only on my own. Yeah. I'll wait another minute. Kagan, if you could write what you'd like to get from the call as well, it'd be amazing. Just so I know I'm doing my job right, or you know, we're coming together and achieving something. Okay. I'll wait for another 30 seconds. Here we go. Oh, brilliant. So this is a good start. So let's start going through these. So Corin said unity and a shared vision. So we're all on this call. We've got a shared vision because we want to impact people with their health. We want them to have an amazing transformation with Isagenix. And as a result, we want them to go on to share it with hundreds of people. I mean, that's reality of what we want, right? The unity, the vision. We want everyone to do that. And people have done it. You know, many people, in fact, have done it. One person in particular I can think of in Canada. He was relentless for 4 years. He enrolled a fitness professional after 4 years who returned his pack back. And he kept relentlessly just saying to him, look, do the products properly. Stop doing it half-assed. And he just kept going. After about the 27th call and communication, this guy actually gave the products a go. And he goes, actually, I really like these products. I'm going to continue using them. And he said, okay, well, do you know anyone in your life that would want to get a massive transformation from these products? He goes, yeah, I know a few people. So he shared a few people, but he didn't do any of the work. He got the guy who shared it with him to do all the work. And after about the 10th enrollment that he referred, he said, look, mate, you've got to get involved here. I can't do all the work for you. So he went, yeah, all right, I'll crack it on. I'll do some work. And he reached out to Jen and John O'Patch in Australia, and he asked them to have a look at something. They had a look at something, and they blew it up. And now 80% of the Australian market is in their downline. And it all comes from one guy in Canada who was relentless for 4 years. So that's that shared vision that we all share. I want you guys to know, however hard it feels, Mr. Warren Lance. Yeah, sorry I didn't say his name. Most of you probably don't know who he is. But I've met him a couple of times, and just the guy's just got this unbelievable relentlessness. And yeah, that's it. Take action. So put your hands up if you've ever listened to a podcast on Take Action Team. Okay, 90% of us. Perfect. You know Warren Lanson. He presents that podcast. So that is the vision, guys. You know, it's possible. You know, it's possible. And if he can do it, then we can do it. And I think you should always, every day we wake up, have belief that it's going to be possible, even if it takes you 4 or 5 years. Have a goal, right? Say I'm going to commit to this for 5 years, 6 years. You know, me and Corinne have said we're going to commit to this till we're 40, right? It's 8 years away. And if we are not earning or maxed out the comp plan by then, if we haven't maxed it out by then, yeah, we'll do something different. That's the truth. We will. And we'll create success in something else. And I'll still be 40, I'll still be young, and I'll still be able to do something else. So find out from you guys how long you're willing to give this a go. Not just, you know, put it on the calendar. How long? I'm sorry, 2 years it won't be enough. Realistically, 4 years. If you go hard out, you know, you could definitely get, you know, to a six-figure, multiple six-figure in 4 years. 5 years would be an ideal say, but have that in time where you want to actually go for, just so you kind of know that you've got kind of some goal in mind. You know, when you do like an apprenticeship or something, or you go to uni, you kind of commit to going for 4 years. Just have that kind of attitude in mind when it comes to it. So, just looking at some other stuff. Self-belief. I mean, more fire in my belly. I mean, it comes down to, let's talk about self-belief for a minute. All right. You know, that self-belief. Where does the lack of self-belief come from? I probably guarantee most of the time it comes from other people's opinions or other people's thoughts of you, or maybe lack of belief in yourself because of something that doesn't go your way. Maybe someone says you can't do something. Maybe, you know, you go for something and you don't get it what you want, or you do an exam at uni or something and you don't get the grade you want. That's what reduces self-belief, right? You know, I had a couple of work experiences growing up in the early 20s, and I remember I worked for a brokerage in London. They did these stocks and shares. They're called IPOs, initial public offerings. About 2 years before the recession, I was working for them, and they were absolutely booming. The guys in the office were making about £15,000 to £20,000 a month, so about $40,000 a month. And they were working from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. And I was listening to them on the phone, and they were just calling people up basically and selling shares to all these different companies. And there was another guy working with me in there, and they were getting him to do all the cool stuff on the computer, all the techie stuff. And I had no idea. Sorry, I was never an academic when it came to Macs and computers back then. I had no idea. So you know what they made me do? They made me go around the boss's house and put a hole in the wall, because he had a hole in the wall. So I had to buy some gear, and I was basically turning into a DIY guy. Yeah, I was meant to be getting experience about how to learn how to do stocks and shares. Then I helped the guy move from his penthouse apartment into another apartment. Anyway, the reason why I'm telling you this, my self-belief was shot. I went to this brokerage and they got me doing shit stuff that wasn't even relevant. Then I worked for a company for a year called Xerox in London. It was, my big placement year at uni, and all year I just made it feel small. The other guy got all the work, and I just sat there all day doing my dissertation. I've in fact got nothing from it. My self-belief was shot. I said to myself, I'm going to find something that I'm good at. And I knew that was just dealing with people and getting out there and doing something small and being known for it, rather than being a little man in a big field. I wanted to be you know, in a small field with minimal people, because I knew that's where I'd make my impact. Anyway, the reason why the point of this is that self-belief comes from you knowing that you're capable of something. And knowing that you're capable of something, you must have had something in your life that you know you're good at. You know, it might have not worked out, but there must be something you know you can kind of go around that. You know, like Rory with your rowing, right? Yeah, it didn't work out the way you can, but that element of having that commitment of getting to the Olympics, putting that into something else. You know, you train 14 times a day. You know, even when you didn't want to get up, or even when you didn't get the times you wanted. Think of that when it comes to Isagenix, mate. Every time you lose self-belief, think about rowing. Think about those commitments you made because of getting to the Olympics, right? Now, there's one thing in Isagenix is if you train that much, nothing's going to really get in the way, mate. I mean, obviously, apart from if you lose your sight or communication, then obviously you can't do Isagenix anymore. You can't talk. You know, that's probably the worst thing that can happen, right? There's no point that holding you back, right? Let's look at some messages in here. Cheers, guys. Appreciate you writing all these messages. Yeah. Driven social team player. Soph, what did you... Gabs, Gabs said, more fire in my belly to carry me through the week. So just asking yourself what causes the fire. Could you write in the chat what causes the fire to go? Is it feeling like you haven't got enough time in the day, or is it something that happens, or you feel something else is more of a priority for you and you're just too tired? Is there anything specific that causes you to lose the fire? You know, what puts it out? Just so I can maybe give you some support on that. Yeah, what dampens the fire? You know, we all, you know, I remember when a year into my business, and I worked so hard to build up this evening session. I had 2 people in there, and they worked with me all through winter. And all winter for 4 months, I had 2 people. I was going at a loss. I was making no money. And I just thought I could quit. And I'd go home some nights and I'd be like, I want to quit. This is ridiculous. And I'd make myself believe that life would be better by quitting. And I just thought, and I just kept reading books and I kept going to events. And one day on this Sunday morning, I went to this event that I didn't want to go. In fact, Corinne wanted me to go somewhere else. And I said to Corinne, we are not going. I'm not going. I'm sorry. I've got to go to this event. And I went to this event up in the North Shore in Auckland, right? And I met a guy who ran boot camps for this franchised company, right? I hope that makes sense. And Gabs, I will get to you in just a sec with your message. So I went to this event and I met this guy that ran these boot camps for this franchised company that I knew about. So I spoke to him and I said, how's it going? He goes, I'm loving it. I'm doing these boot camps for this company. I said, great. And he was quite full on. He knew what he was doing. He wasn't very good at listening, and he didn't really want to ask me any questions. But I thought this could be a potential way in, and because he wanted to help me, right? He kind of got that buzz from it. So I went to a few of his sessions, and he kind of taught me some stuff that he knew. And I said to him one day, can you introduce me to the owner of this franchise company? Because I knew that was like a kind of a way in, right? And, you know, he could have said no, but he was like, yeah, I'll meet you. One day eventually I met this guy who owned the franchise, and we'd both done Landmark together, and we basically hit it off. And cut a long story short, he put me on his website for free for 8 weeks, and he was getting like hundreds of leads a week. And he put me on his website, Meadowbank Boot Camp. My evening class went from 2 people to about 16 people in about 4 weeks. It transformed my business. I was about to quit if I didn't go to that event on the Sunday. And that's why it brings me into the Isagenix events. You know, some days you think, I've been to this event before, I know what it's about, but you don't really know. There could be that one thing, or it could be that one person you invite to that event that makes such a difference. Or it might even be someone you meet at that event that is willing to support you or work with you. The same thing happened for Corinne. She sat next to Adam Nesbitt at an event, and they worked together ever since. If we didn't have Adam, if we never met Adam, I guarantee you we wouldn't be here. No way. It's impossible. and just little things like that. And that's the thing, when you don't want to go to an event, you've got to keep going. And when it comes to fire in your belly, you got to think to yourself, Gabs, time, is this worth your time? Why is it worth my time? And why do I want it so bad? Why do you want it so bad? What is it for you that you want from this? Do you want $500 a week? Do you want to have, do you want to create 10 consultants? Have a very specific plan and write it down. It might be to have 2 consultants and give yourself 2 months to do it. Find the time to make it happen. Whatever it takes, even on a Sunday when you're like, you finding the time. And obviously with you, you've got your uni thing, so there's a bit of pressure with that. I had a job, we in the early days, and you have to balance it out. In fact, I was quite lucky because I would actually, in work, be sending messages to clients and stuff. I mean, and obviously your uni, you just need to work out, obviously, do you have the ability to get through your uni and get a really good grade and qualification, with about 90% effort? Do you think you could do it? If that's the case, spend that extra 10% really cranking Isagenix. I hope that helps. I hope that really kind of gives you something to work with. Just find it and make it happen for your sake, and just knowing what you want and have it very clear in your mind. That's probably the best thing I can describe on that. Let's just look at some stuff here. Like, obviously, I only want to talk for half an hour. I just want to really help you guys. You put self-belief. I mean, look, reality is UK is a hard market. UK is a hard market. I know, we know that full well. We did like 5 events back to back when we came over last year. We had people show up, but, and I just think of Sam Anderton, right? The guy is relentless in what he's creating, and he's enrolling at about 5 people a month, and he's got. I can imagine how many people he's going through, but his relentlessness to it in the UK has enabled him to win, obviously, the Spirit Award, and I just think, I just know what it's taken him. It's just non-stop, and it's just finding the belief that it's going to happen eventually. And Sam was like messaging me going, mate, can you help me? Can you write a video? Can you do a video for me saying how much you've seen me grow? He was just reaching out to me, even though he doesn't really speak to me, in the hope that I'd help him out. And I did help him. I wrote a video for him. A couple of other people did it as well. And he did a massive transformation. He committed to, having a massive health transformation. Even though when he was so hard, like he wanted to quit and stuff, he just did it all. And that's now he's on flying on air because he's just like, I did it. And that's probably the best thing to say, Saif, is doing everything 100%. ISA body, your commitment to ISA, and just having that constant belief and continuing to go, knowing that it will happen. It might not happen straight away, but it will happen over time if you're willing to absolutely fire it out. I promise you. It's just if you don't have all your ducks in one basket, and there's one basket that's not very good, it's going to fall, and you just be constantly kind of crawling around. If you constantly have the ducks in the basket and you're making sure they're consistent all the time, that will help you get to your success and just not allowing anything else to come in. And that's basically what Sam did, and he worked so relentlessly to do it. And oh my God, the amount of stuff he told me he had happen, but he just blocked it out. And now, he's made it. He's achieved something for himself, which is huge. And I want that for you, Saif. Whatever that may be, whatever the small thing may be for you, big thing. I want you to know that you can achieve it. It's just going to take that. When you feel like quitting, it's when you don't and you do something that you wouldn't have normally done because of the pressure. That is sadly the case of success. That's where it comes from. Success is on the thin line of failure. It's when you're that close to failing when you get the success. It's just the reality of it. Everyone has to go through it, and I think it's understanding that the harder you fall and the more you want to quit is when you have to go that extra mile, because that's when you get closer. And to you, you might think, oh my God, I felt like quitting so many times. But obviously, for you, it's not bad enough. It hasn't been that bad to quitting for you to jump the hoop. Do you know what I mean? It's been like, oh, it's tough, but I'm getting by. Maybe it's going to take for you to really go out of your comfort zone really feel like you've hit rock bottom, but push through that just 1%. And I think that will make such a difference. I mean, I can just look at and look, I'm not a guru at any of it. I've still got a long way to go. 32 years old, I've got some stuff I want to do, and we've got some stuff we want to achieve. And that's what I'll talk to you about in a sec. Some of the stuff we've been doing. We've been trying to find our own self. Me and Corinne, we've been trying to work out who we are, what we want to be, how we are influential in our life. What do people look at us as? Now, people every time message me, your life looks great. You have an amazing life. What you're doing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, people, we are known to people. This is me and Corinne I'm talking about. We are known to people all around the world as people that are making an impact. So people just generally go, oh yeah, Steve and Corinne are doing great things. I don't really know what it is. So we used to think, what can we do that channels our skills and allows us to express ourselves in the right way? And we've tried and so many things. Like Corinne started a midwife page, which is awesome. Corinne did our own little events. We did taster parties. We did an event. We collaborated with other people and did an event in the church. And what we found is the best way for us to fulfill ourselves and to engage people to get to the event is by doing a boot camp and like a rebalancing masterclass, like an event that basically talks about just helping people deal with stress and fatigue. And we've realized that is what we found our niche, but we've been through a hell of a journey to try and find that. I mean, oh my God, amount of times we've got it wrong, but we've just done our second event, and literally people are coming out of the woodwork wanting to come, because we're not being fake about what we're talking about. We are generally offering a boot camp for 25, 30 minutes, right? By someone like myself, I'm not like Joe Wicks, but I'm definitely an established boot camp instructor in New Zealand. I have 180 clients, I have 3 corporate clients, and I have a big community. I'm not just a random guy off the street. So that means there's credibility. People are like, oh, Steve's going to run a boot camp. Okay, so that's proof in the pudding. And then with the stress fatigue masterclass, people are always intrigued about what Corinne's doing, and they're thinking, how she's, does her post to reflect not having stress and not being fatigued. People then want to know, oh, Corinne, I'm dealing with all this stress. I'm going to go to this masterclass. It's in a great location. It smells good. It's in the centre of Auckland. And Corinne doesn't even really pitch Isagenix in the way you think. She's created her own presentation. She talks about aligning the body. She talks about, understanding yourself, and she gives some little simple tips, like basic stuff, like don't use your phone at night, stuff that everyone knows, but it part of the presentation. And then she brings Isagenix as in the part of that, helping you with fatigue as an option. And then she talks about it as an option, very, very quite technical. Yeah, she does talk a little bit of depth about the product. She does show that she has knowledge. And it doesn't have to be much knowledge. She just talks about toxicity and adaptogens and where they come from and why they're so important in this day and age, why superfood smoothies help the body. Just a little bit of science in there. Literally, you don't need much. 5%. Rory and Gabs, you'll know what I'm talking about. You were there at the event at the weekend. She said just enough to get you thinking she knows what she's talking about. And then she did a few testimonials, which was just generic, testimonials. People were thinking, wow. And then you doesn't look like you're actually pitching Isagenix. You're talking about stress and fatigue, and you're saying how all these factors help, and an additional add-on which may help you is Isagenix. This is why Isagenix has worked really well. This is the science, and these are the testimonials. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour long. And then I jump up at the end, and I just talk about my experience, just a very brief, and get the energy up in the audience. And then we're still working on our follow-up system. So we're currently making a business plan how we can work on the follow, and that's going to be trial and error again. But I just want to encourage you guys to maybe try and find the same. Try and find, obviously, if you're in New Zealand, obviously Gabs and Raw, you guys, we've got your back. You can use our event to grow your business in any way, shape or form. I'd be inviting everyone you can and just, sending them a link to sending them my YouTube video workout. So this is Steve. He's running these boot camps. You've got Barefit YouTube. It's got all my videos on it. You've also got Corinne's Instagram. You've also got so many stuff. Us presenting. You can send this to people and go, come to this event. this masterclass event if they show you that they are looking for something different, you know. And that's what I would recommend to you guys is just show credibility that there's a reason for coming, and go from that, rather than just mentioning about Isagenix. Say, look, we're doing this rebalancing mastercard, how I managed to get out of, you know, a very horrible situation with Rory. You know, I managed to change my health when I just couldn't get out of it, and I've aligned with this, you know, this couple, or aligned with a great guy called Stephen. They run these master classes once a month. You know, you say that you want this, would you like to come? And that's what I'd recommend. The same with you, Gabs. People that come into your life, you did that. Gabs, you basically nailed it on the head. You said that to your friend. She came along, and then obviously she had a great experience. So yeah, that's one thing I'd maybe find, guys. Find something that aligns with you, but treat it like you treat your job or your business or your house. Whatever you guys are, you know, you obviously have professions. Sarah, Sophie, you have professions that you're really good at. You know how to organize your systems at work. You know how to communicate. You've got the tools, the templates of how you communicate. Sophie, with a client that's unhappy, or how to negotiate if someone wants compensation. There's a system in there, and your company are really strict on it, and they're always working on process improvements via meetings every week. I would say when you do your event in Isagenix, treat that the same. Absolutely 100% impeccability commitment to it, like it is a $1 million event that Kevin Hart, you know, like Kevin Hart is about to go on stage. He has to make sure it's an impeccable event. He's going to inspire people, make them laugh, right? Or that's what Kevin Hart does. Your job is to do whatever you want it to do for you, whether it's, you know, a stress and rebalancing class, you know, whatever aligns with you, Soph. I mean, you know, you just need to find what aligns with you. And I'm not really too sure what that is. Maybe Corinne would be able to suggest some ideas for you, that is who you are. I mean, I just know you're just a genuine, happy, loyal, kind, warm person who is committed to having an extraordinary life, and you want to, yeah, go for it. Let me just chuck my volume off just so it doesn't sound like it is off. Go for
just
it.
to follow on from exactly what you were saying, Steve, like I just wrote there in the chat that both Sophie and Sarah, you're both so good at cooking, at presenting your food. You know, maybe have a think about a class, use that word, a master class in nutritional rebalancing, focusing on, I don't know, food and wine. I don't know, something you could think of like, come and have a glass of wine. Georgie Thomas had a really good one, like uncorking the myths while you have a glass of wine, uncorking the myths about nutritional rebalancing, and put on a lovely platter of like just normal food, and then sprinkles of Isagenix through it, a bar or some isolites or some whey thins or something, where you're just being yourself. Everybody, even you guys watching the recording, the reason Steve shared that we're doing a boot camp and then we're doing aligning our health is because that is what people know Steve and I for. We're literally just honing in on it because that's what we're known for. So people are going to come to us because they want that. Whereas people who want to uncork the myth and have a glass of wine and talk about how to rebalance their body and how to have the best of both, they're not going to look to me or Steve for that. So that's where that whole niche and knowing and getting familiar with what it is that is your skill and what it is that people know you for. Is it that you are a health professional and a mum and really good at cooking? Or is it that you are a, what's the word? So if like a hospitality specialist, where you take so much pride in customer experience and customer care, you know, really start to think about what it is. And Kagan, mum, you're a mum as well. You know, really start to think about what is it that people know me for? What do I enjoy? And how can I bring people into my home, into my life, into conversation, to an event that where they're going to really feel connected to me, like my kind of people. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that little bit on there. Thanks, Steve. Carry on. Doing great.
Just need to put this back up. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah, put a thumbs up if it sounds all right. Thanks. Sweet. So yeah, and you know what Corinne was talking about, like with you, Soph, you know, is I mean, you'd have to find this for yourself through trial and error, to be fair. You know, it's not like a one kind of thing. You'd probably have to trial stuff, maybe fail forward a few times, but something around, if you're good at cooking, maybe some kind of an event or something that will inspire people to come to your events, whatever it may be. And you could put on a cooking show. You could, obviously, it would take work from your end, like any event does. And you could maybe do like a dinner dine with me or something. I don't know. This is just an idea. Or you could do like, give advice on how to cook effectively and give them like something around that. This is how to cook, blah, blah, blah. But it's finding a way to link Isagenix into that, but not awkwardly, to make it feel normal. So you've got to try to find a way that you're not kind of talking about this event and then, it's all about Isagenix. It's almost like Isagenix is part of it, and that's finding it. And that is like sometimes the only way to find out that. It's like finding out your target market, right? Sometimes you think you know it, but until you start marketing and you start talking, you start to realize that you find a certain type of person, and that's only through trial and error. Do you know what I mean? And
can I butt in again?
Yeah.
I'm going to butt in again because it's such a key point. Is that, guys, like Steve and I have been doing this for 4 years now. Really, we've only been hosting our own events for about 2.5, maybe 3. We have made it to 3-star Golden Circle, created an executive, and have been paid as executives. So the fact that we've only just run our second class, our second event that we actually feel like we're in flow with, I just want you guys to truly get that. You don't wait. Don't only hold an event when you feel that you've got that all clear, there's clarity, it's go, 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 it's flowing, blah, blah, blah. We've spent 3 years achieving all those accolades and all those things from having these shoddy, couldn't like bring it together type events. We've hosted taster parties where we've literally just used the corporate slides. We've hosted Super Saturdays, taster parties, sip and samples. So Steve's given some really amazing advice around you're really going to get your people there when you're doing what you're great at. But don't not hold an event for fear of not knowing your specific niche. Like, freaking hold one anyway. Get as many people in front of you as you can. Constantly, just keep doing it.
Sarah asked this question. She says, "That's so."
Is it that's so helpful?
Yeah, she said that's so helpful because I keep thinking because I'm not a personal trainer. I want to share something.
Go. I'll mute. Go for it.
So, Sarah, you mentioned about. Are you there? Oh yeah. You mentioned about not. That's not helpful because I think I'm not a personal trainer. I don't have a niche. Now, I'll tell you a fact, right? That in itself is kind of like anyone can really be a personal trainer, right? Being a personal trainer doesn't really give you any credibility whatsoever in this world today. And in fact, I don't even think it means anything. It's all about what you're known for, right? Like what you're specifically known for, and that's basically it, right? I'm known for just the guy that runs these energetic fitness classes, and I've got these 5-minute workouts on YouTube, right? And I'm the local English guy down the road that runs sessions, and that's all I'm known for. In fact, I've never actually run a personal training session in my life. I've only ever done group fitness, right? And it's purely just based on just a random thing that I did, and it worked out in the end. But going back to your point, you don't have to be a personal trainer, but what you could be is someone that stands for health and actually proves it. Like, you could be someone that has a massive transformation and showcases your journey, and just it's all up to you as whether you actually are able to go through that journey, that what's going to come with it. It's going to be new for you, a new lifestyle. Every day things are going to feel different. Maybe you won't be able to eat the things that you may have done in the past, or those comfort eating or something like that. You might have to just maybe shift that for 16 weeks and absolutely just prove become someone when it comes to health. You know, it might even be something, it might not even be about a body transformation. It might be a mindset transformation, or it might be something around traveling, or weekends you go to the field, a park or a farm or wherever it is, and you're showcasing that you can get out every week, and you're inspiring people. God, you always get out, you know, you do this, you know, wild as it may seem. But yeah, I promise you, you don't have to be a trainer. I mean, you would think that being a trainer, you get all these leads and everyone signs up to Isagenix. But the reality is, in fact, I'd say not even 10% of my clients do Isagenix, not even 10%. I mean, some of them just don't see it for themselves, and yet they get no results. In fact, most people come from, I just meet out and about, and then they Google me or look at me on YouTube, and they go, they've never even been to one of my classes. They just see me as someone, or people on Facebook I reach out to and go, God, they look at my Facebook profile pictures. There's like one of me talking. There's one of me having a transformation. There's one of me doing a skydive. There's one of me getting married. There's one of me with a great view, or something like that. And they just go, shit, this guy's been all over the place. And then it just goes from there. So, I mean, I didn't even plan that. That's just me being natural. So maybe find your natural way of being, which I'm telling you, you've probably got hundreds of things that you're amazing at. I'm sure there's hundreds, as many, if not probably more than me, to be honest with you. So, so just go and find that, and just don't be afraid to channel it, and be afraid of, you know, people that, you know, might not agree with it or whatever, because at the end of the day, if you commit to something for long enough, and like I said, and you go hard, and to the point where you kind of like, it's like, oh my God, this is actually going to work. It becomes so routine and you become so good at it that the point of failure, and when you keep pushing, is what's going to take you to the next level. So yeah, guys, hopefully that gives you something to work with. I mean, look, we have these calls every week. Life goes on. You go into your life, the same shit happens. We all deal with it, right? And I just ask you guys just to hopefully take something on tonight that you want. And maybe it just means writing down what your goals are, or, you know, what's going to keep you fired up, or what your timeline is in this business. How many years you're going to commit to it? And are you going to commit to it and then just do half-assed work? Or you're going to go, I'm going to go for freaking next 16 weeks, and I'm just going to commit for 16 weeks of just going all out, having these events, being really blindly, inviting people, having no one show up, but knowing that you're doing it for 16 weeks. And if no one comes to any event, you have an event every week for 16 weeks, and no one shows up, and you know you've done your absolute best, and you haven't, you know, your absolute best, like you've engaged with me and Corinne, or, you know, you've asked people for support, and you've studied Isagenix, you've learned about yourself, and you've done everything, and no one show up, then you can make a plan then. But know you've committed. But don't go and say, I'm going to do an event for 16 weeks. Keep doing an event. No one shows, but yet you don't do anything about actually growing. Like, you don't change the event, or you don't modify it slightly. You know, think of everything you do as a process improvement, right? Everything you do. I remember this guy I used to work with in New Zealand. He had a tourism company. He almost went bankrupt. He just survived. He got bought out by this other guy, and he said, the only reason why that I failed before, because I didn't have process improvements every single week. And he was insane about process improvement. And now when I work for him, he had 12 people. Now they've got 87 staff, and the company's booming. They've got more, and I know what it is. And it's because he's mad on process, and every week he's getting his team to create a process improvement. So what can you do in your Isagenix business better this week than last week? And if it's just that one thing, go for it, guys. All right, the last one, we've got the event coming up in Auckland. Rory, you've obviously going to be sorting out your ticket pretty soon for that one. ICU, or you might have already had it. Awesome either way. I imagine that's just normal. But try and see if you can get some awesome people along to it, mate. If you need any of my help, you know what the event was like last year. We had someone being chosen as the IsaBody finalist. We had the science talks with Danny Catania. We also had the, what else did we have last year that was really good? The leaders, top income earners, sorry. So just good for people, you know, to be there. And Gabs, you know, the same for you as well. It's a must, obviously, for you guys on the call, a must to be at that event, as I said before, but obviously inviting people that you know, that might see a vision for themselves. And if you need our help, get him onto it. You know, last year Adam invited this couple called Nick and Taryn, right? And they were like not sure about Isogenics, like dilly-dallying. They'd ordered the products 2 weeks before, and he basically paid. This is just a funny thing that Adam did. They lived in Christchurch, the event was in Auckland. He paid half of their flights, and he said, look, I'll pay for half of your flights if you come to this event and you can stay with us. You know, they went to executive 2-star after that event in about 100 days. If Adam didn't pay for their flight or half that, I'm not saying pay for people's flights. I'm just saying do whatever it takes to get people to the event. Do whatever it takes. Simple as, even if they're not even enrolled, just do whatever it takes. Just think, you do the work once, they might just see a vision for themselves. All right, I'm going to leave you at that, guys. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. Hopefully that's been supportive. Appreciate you listening to me. I've had my cleanse day today. I'm fired up as anything, and I can't wait to wake up in the morning and have a shake.
Oh my gosh.
Good night, legends.